The BBB Method. Transform your personality, from beggar and bugger to blessing. The BBB Method, a revolutionary therapeutic framework for understanding the wounded self, beggar and bugger, and transitioning to the empowered self, blessing or bonus being. The BBB Method is a three-phase model that tracks the evolution of the trauma ego from desperate external seeking, beggar, to emotionally charged rebellion, bugger, to an empowered, self-sourced existence, blessing or bonus being. Each phase represents a stage of emotional development and self-awareness. The model reveals the false promise of ego strategies and offers a path towards self-love, inner empowerment, and sovereignty. The BBB Method, from beggar and bugger to blessing, B1 the beggar, for breadcrumb. Let's identify the beggar, B1, the beggar, or hopeful appeaser. Emotion base, hope, guilt, fear of rejection. Core belief, if I behave the right way, maybe they'll love me. Typical behaviors, pleasing, peacekeeping, over-responsibility, proving, defensiveness, setting no boundaries, performing, over-complimenting, forgiving excessively, over-giving, adapting to others, guilt and shame, self-directed. The beggar is the trauma ego seeking to earn love and acceptance through the outside world. It is driven by the 3 V's, value, validation, and vulnerability. These desires stem from unmet childhood needs, which are 1. Adequate care, hygiene, food, rest, pain relief. Wound, I'm not worthy of being taken care of. Common beggar behaviors, withdrawn, introvert, emotionally unavailable, low stress resilience, not listening to intuition, weakness, shame, over-responsibility, chronic guilt, not doing enough. Compensation, if I do everything myself, maybe I'll finally be allowed to rest or be taken care of. Childhood need 2. Affection and intimacy. Wound, love is conditional or unsafe. Common beggar behaviors, pleasing, peacekeeping, mildness, kindness as a mask, oversensitivity to others' emotions, smothering, oversupportive, being a feeder, love bombing, over-attentive, over-complimenting. Compensation, if I give love, maybe I'll receive it in return. If I'm nice, I won't be abandoned. 3. Emotional safety, clarity, and emotional security. Wound, the world, or people, aren't emotionally safe. Common beggar behaviors, avoiding emotional confrontation, controlling, blame shifting, gaslighting, devaluating others, doubting, frustration, anger, victimhood. Compensation, if I can control or predict everything, I'll never get hurt again. 4. Ability to develop yourself and feel competent. Wound, I am not capable or I always fall short. Common beggar behaviors, overachieving, over-responsible, proving, explaining, defensiveness, competitive, dissatisfaction, shame, not being enough, guilt, not doing enough, overconfidence, masking insecurity, molding into others to gain approval. Compensation, if I perform well enough, I'll be seen as good enough. 5. Appreciation and recognition. Wound, I'm invisible, replaceable, or never acknowledged. Common beggar behaviors, needing excess attention, appreciation, performing or dramatizing emotions, Jekyll and Hyde behavior, mood swings as an attention magnet, insincere, fake behavior to be liked, dishonesty, masking shame or fear. Compensation, if I shine bright or behave just right, maybe they'll finally see me. 6. Feeling like a good human being through living up to expectations. Wound, I'm not good, I'm defective, I'm the problem. Common beggar behaviors, chronic guilt, over-forgiveness, compassion overload, being overly kind, shame over being too much, seeking moral superiority, being the better one, self-blame or excessive responsibility. Compensation, if I'm overly good, maybe I'll feel like I deserve love. Strategies used mainly include pleasing, peacekeeping, over-responsibility, lack of boundaries, performing, over-giving, and more. Let's further explore the 2 main beggar personas. How does the beggar appear in real life? Let's delve into these beggar personas and make a division between the primary persona and the sub-persona on a more subtle level. Primary personas, wounded empath, guilt, remorse, victim, shame, blame. Sub-personas, the martyr, pleaser, fixer, perfectionist, narcissist light, guilt tripper, drama magnet. 1. The wounded empath, felon with guilt and remorse as we call this one. Driven by the belief, it's all my fault. If I do better, I'll finally be loved. Motivation, redemption, approval, repair of inner guilt. Sub-personas, the martyr, sacrifices their own needs endlessly to prove worth. The pleaser, terrified of rejection, will mold into anyone to stay liked. The overgiver, drowns others in support to avoid feeling useless or unloved. The perfectionist, never allows rest, believes flawlessness earns acceptance. The fixer, obsessed with solving others' problems to feel needed. The performer, thrives on praise, fears invisibility without constant doing. The apologizer, says sorry excessively, often for things they didn't do. The peacemaker, avoids conflict at all costs, even if it means betrayal of self. 2. The victim, shame-driven, toxic persona. Driven by the belief, I'm broken, unwanted, and it's the world's fault. Motivation, protection of wounded self, externalization of shame. Sub-personas, the blamer, projects responsibility onto others to avoid feeling defective. The narcissist light, inflates self to mask deep unworthiness and fear of rejection. The withdrawn, shuts down or ghosts others to avoid vulnerability. The guilt tripper, emotionally manipulates others to get needs met. The drama magnet, uses chaos or crises as a bid for attention and care. The attention seeker, constantly fishing for affirmation to soothe inner lack. The gaslighter, rewrites reality to maintain a sense of control and avoid shame. The passive-aggressive, punishes through silence or indirect sabotage. Why both personas beg. Despite their different approaches, both personas seek value, validation, and vulnerability, but through opposite lenses. One internalizes shame or guilt, I am bad. The other externalizes blame equals you made me feel bad. Resume: the beggar, hopeful appeaser. 1. Starting emotion, hope. Energetic posture, reaching out, soft, adaptive. Inner voice, if I just do better, maybe this time they'll see me. I can still earn their love. Primary strategy, pleasing, proving, peacekeeping, compliance, overgiving, over-apologizing, holding on to belief that love can be earned. This phase still believes in the possibility of conditional love as salvation. 2. Frustration and disillusionment, bridge point. Emotion, frustration leads to sadness, leads to anger. Energetic shift, shaking, pressure building, emotional compression. Inner voice, why do I always have to try this hard? No one sees me no matter what I do. This isn't fair. Behavioral signs, passive aggressiveness, emotional withdrawal, mood swings, Jekyll and Hyde, increased sensitivity or resentment. This is the tipping point, where the inner child realizes its efforts aren't working and feels emotionally abandoned all over again. When the beggar's strategies fail, frustration grows. Hope turns into disillusionment, and the child within feels unseen, unloved, and hopeless. This triggers the emergence of the bugger. Emotionally, this shift moves from hope to frustration to anger to despair. B2, the bugger, the bad baby. The bugger represents the desperate, reactive inner child or unresolved trauma. Having lost faith in earning love, it resorts to more aggressive strategies. The bugger, rebellious reactor, bad baby. Emotion base, anger, sadness, abandonment. Core belief, they'll never love me, so I'll make sure they feel it too. Typical behaviors, criticism, blame, devaluation, gaslighting, control, withdrawn, apathy, emotional shutdown or Jekyll and Hyde, passive aggression, sabotage, aggression, verbal or energetic, guilt tripping, playing the victim, manipulation, lying, dishonesty, excessive need for attention, tantrum style. The bugger still wants love but now demands it or punishes others for its absence. It reveals the deep despair of unmet needs masked by anger and emotional shutdown. Both, beggar and bugger, are crying out for love, but one is still hoping, and the other has given up hoping and turned to force, punishment, or despair. From beggar to bugger, the emotional escalation map in a nutshell. When hope turns into heartbreak and rebellion. 1. The beggar, hopeful appeaser, starting emotion, hope. Energetic posture, reaching out, soft, adaptive. Inner voice, if I just do better, maybe this time they'll see me. I can still earn their love. Primary strategy, compliance, pleasing, proving, peacekeeping, overgiving, over-apologizing, holding on to belief that love can be earned. This phase still believes in the possibility of conditional love as salvation. 2. Frustration and disillusionment, bridge point, emotion, frustration leads to sadness, leads to anger. Energetic shift, shaking, pressure building, emotional compression. Inner voice, why do I always have to try this hard? No one sees me no matter what I do. This isn't fair. Behavioral signs. Passive aggressiveness, emotional withdrawal, mood swings, Jekyll and Hyde, increased sensitivity or resentment. This is the tipping point, where the inner child realizes its efforts aren't working and feels emotionally abandoned all over again. Leading to 3. The bugger, desperate reactor, bad baby. Primary emotion, despair becomes rage, becomes apathy. Energetic posture, collapsed or explosive. Inner voice, fuck it. They'll never love me. They deserve to feel what I feel. I'll get attention even if it's negative. Primary strategy, rebellion, criticism, blame, ghosting, gaslighting, manipulation, tantrums, withdrawing love or punishing silence, self-destructive or emotionally reckless behavior. This is not a bad person acting out, it's a child who has given up hope that love can be earned, and is now testing if love can survive the storm. Key insight, all bugger behavior is a defense mechanism built on the despair of unmet need. If we recognize the shift before it tips into collapse or chaos, we can pause and redirect the energy back toward healing. The transition, when people are in the beggar mode, the ego persona promises them that being a beggar, which is attempting to get fulfillment through the outside world by begging, will eventually lead to the blessing or bonus being status. This is the fake promise of ego and the angry inner child trying to get positive attention or conditional love. When this doesn't work, the bugger kicks in, the negatively attention-seeking inner child, frustrated that the attempt to get love conditionally didn't work. It gets afraid it will never get what it needs, love or more specified, fulfillment of one or a combination of the universal child needs as described before. But still, the bugger aims at regaining control in an ultimate attempt to feel as a blessing or bonus being to others to restore a fake sense of emotional safety and control. Which doesn't happen. The key therefore is to realize this, to see the mission impossible in these attempts, to find the motivation to let these beggar and bugger strategies go. This creates an entry point or motivation to start considering the blessing or bonus being attitude as a new personal viewpoint. A more self-empowering one, a self-valuing one, a more self-validating one, a more vulnerable and honest one to oneself. Disconnected from the perception and judgment of the outside world, hence the invulnerability through being vulnerable, honest and vulnerable to oneself. We must understand that we are already connected to unconditional love, as a God-given birthright, without needing to earn it. It's already there, it's what and who we are. Therefore, we are permitted, validated, to define our lives most positively in the main areas of life such as work, income, finance, health, relationships, other connections, meaning and purpose in life, identity, and what more have we. Now we are settling for a negative definition of life in these areas, which creates eventually the bugger. The blessing or bonus being must be convinced of them being a blessing or bonus being to themselves, first, and others, secondly, and automatically when they are confident of themselves being a blessing or bonus being to themselves. Subsequently, by being determined to no longer settle for less than their most positive definition of life in the main areas with a slogan and realization, if I, again, settle for less, my life will, again, become a mess. When they are fed up with ending up in a mess again, they automatically find the motivation to settle for less and consider themselves a bonus being or blessing to themselves. To which, subsequently, the outside world will respond as a mirror to them in a similar way. How to convince the persona or ego to let go of the old beggar and bugger strategies to obtain emotional safety and control through the outside world? For this we developed a method we called Ego, Exposed, Game Over, which we will discuss in another video. For now, first we continue with B3 The blessing or bonus being. From begging and bugging to becoming the bonus they never expected. Core shift, from external need to internal source. From please love me to I already am. Identity of the bonus, the healed empath, the empowered self, the unified adult, the magnet, not the beggar. Core beliefs, I am my own source of value. I validate my truth without outside permission. My vulnerability is not weakness, it's power. I'm not afraid to be misunderstood. I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. I bless, not beg. How the bonus lives, speaks their truth without performance or apology, sets boundaries without guilt, walks away from what dishonors their worth, radiates from inner fullness, not need, chooses love without losing self in it. Vulnerability becomes not a gamble, but a gift. Here I am, fully seen. If it's too much, that's not mine to carry. This is invulnerable vulnerability, not because you can't be hurt, but because the fear of being hurt no longer controls you. The blessing or bonus is the healed empath. This person has stopped begging or bugging, and starts embodying their worth from within. Signature mindset, if I settle for less, my life will again become a mess. This phase is defined by self-worth, emotional sovereignty, and choosing one's most empowered definition of life in all areas. The BBB Method, from beggar and bugger to blessing, practices and affirmations to embody the blessing, bonus being attitude, and let go of the beggar and bugger illusions. Foundational realization, my strategies were never the problem. My belief that I needed them was. 1. Stop, catch the beggar or bugger in action. Practice, the stop and spot moment. Pause when you feel the urge to perform, please, react, or rage. Ask, am I trying to earn love right now? Or express my truth? Gently name the inner child need driving the moment. For example, right now I'm trying to feel safe by controlling this situation. Affirmation, I see the child in me reaching out. But I no longer need to beg or bug, I am already held in love. 2. Redefine, claim your most positive definition of life. Practice, the bonus life audit. In your journal, write down your current definitions for work, income, health, relationships, purpose, identity. Then rewrite each one from your most loving, empowered self. For example, work is no longer survival. It's my playground of passion and service. Affirmation, I define my life from the love I already am, not the fear I used to be. 3. Embody, step into your worth through action. Practice, walk the bonus path, each morning, pick one area, for example, health, relationships. Ask, what does the bonus version of me choose today? Then do one simple act from that energy. Affirmation, there it is again, if I settle for less, my life becomes a mess. So I rise as my bonus, my life will reflect nothing less. 4. Declare, use your voice to break the old spell. Practice, mirror work, voice activation. Look at yourself in the mirror daily and say, I am the bonus. I bring value, not for what I do, but for who I am. I choose honesty, even if it shakes the world around me. Affirmation, my vulnerability is my power. My truth is my home. My love is not for sale, it's my state of being. I am the bonus. Ride with me, or get out of my way.